Yeah, now. Oh, you heard?
Yeah. You gotta be grateful. Because sometimes we complain too much. And we never think about the what ifs. What if your situation was your neighbor's situation? Or your neighbor's situation was your situation? And then you would complain more and more and more and never be grateful. But what if?
Y'all can share this on y'all feed.
Imagine if your mama tried
Facebook Live.
in the fence, and if your pops was around, but won't claim you, how would you feel? Man, this stuff get real. If your mama was hooked on pills, and if your brother was sick, he done listened, so he got tricked. Say he got on his slick, got on base, now this is it. Please do not take offense, I'm a counterpart to this here. But if your grandma died, when she couldn't, she always tried it. When she asked for something, you just pick her and tell her lies. What if that baby on the news was your sister or brother? What if that child who just got raped turned out to be your friend's daughter? How would you feel at that? Cause would you turn out more hateful when you think about your life? Don't it make you feel grateful to know that you've been blessed in some places that so many are not? It's not a blessing in them, it's just how things are. That's what happens when people live by their own heart. For you who I'm staying focused, I'm gonna do my part. Cause we been getting ungrateful, I know this hurt is hard. Your life could be a lot worse, so don't think upon yourself. You're not the only one struggling, we all been through some hell. So I'ma let you know my feel, man, it pain be real. The most I hear, the harder the hurt, he gon' keep it real. I'm speaking truth that be happening, hope you keep it real. If you're not grateful, I'm just trying to make you think of it. He don't owe you nothing, just think about it, take a tip. What if, what if, what if, what if, oh. What if, what if, what if, what if, oh. What if, what if, what if, what if, oh. What if, what if, what if, what if, oh. What if, what if, what if, what if, oh. What if, what if, what if, what if, oh. What if, what if, what if, what if, oh. What if, what if, what if, what if, oh. I'm on a Gentile, walk in and let the whole clip off. Everybody die, got the pistol, let it ride. Would you disrespect your people when you're thinking about them, no? Or if you had a child that you never gave attention, then one day they end up missing. Now your heart hurt cause they missing. Your daddy wanna talk, he heard you too, he end up passing. Now you on the ground, gasping when he talk, you never listen. You gotta change your way. Hoping that you hear what I say. Be grateful cause it could be way worse, way. I realize that my problems are not the only one on this earth. So I gotta be grateful because the blessings that I got.
Alright, y'all, alright. Shabbat shalom, family.
Shabbat shalom.
Welcome to another class presented by Kal Maku Ministries. This is your brother Mika'EL bin Benyamin.
Elder Adaya.
So uncomfortable saying. And we're here bringing another lesson or a continuous lesson of the biblical family structure.
Hallelujah.
As we close out on a message to the daughters of Zion, if you're Esther or are you a Vashti? If you're Esther or are you a Vashti? And so first and foremost, we want to give all praises to our Father, the creator of all things, Yahweh,
Hallelujah.
and his only begotten Son, the King of Israel, the Adonai of Israel, Yehoshua HaMashiach. And we give double honors to the Zakonim, the elders of the nation, and we give honors to all the righteous husbands, teachers, and even the righteous women amongst us who serve the Father in all totality and all truth and sincerity. And so with that, we say hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And so we're going to open up with prayer as we face Jerusalem. And we're all going to turn towards Jerusalem and read out of Tehillim chapter 47. And so y'all be repeating after me.
Oh, clap your hands.
All ye people.
All ye people.
Shout unto Elohim.
Shout out to Elohim.
With the voice of triumph.
With the voice of triumph.
For Yahweh.
For Yahweh.
Most High is terrible.
Most High is terrible.
He is a great king.
He is a great king.
Over all the earth.
Over all the earth.
He shall subdue the people.
He shall subdue the people.
Under us.
Under us.
And the nations.
And the nations.
Under our foot.
Under our foot.
He shall choose.
He shall choose.
Our inheritance.
Our inheritance.
For us.
For us.
The excellency.
The excellency.
Of Yahweh.
Of Yaakov.
Whom he loved.
Whom he loved.
Whom he loved.
Whom he loved.
Selah.
Selah.
Elohim.
Elohim.
Is going up.
Is going up.
With a shout.
With the shout.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
The sound of a trumpet.
With the sound of a trumpet.
Singing praise.
Singing praise.
To Elohim.
To Elohim.
Sing praises.
Sing praises.
Sing praises.
Sing praises.
Unto our King.
Unto our King.
Sing praises.
Sing praises.
For Elohim.
For Elohim.
Is the King.
Is the King.
Of all the earth.
Of all the earth.
Sing ye praises.
Sing ye praises.
With understanding.
With understanding.
Elohim.
Elohim.
Reigning over.
Reign over.
The heathen.
The heathen.
Elohim.
Elohim.
Sits upon.
Sits upon.
The throne.
The throne.
Of his holiness.
Of his holiness.
Of his holiness.
Of his holiness.
The princes.
The princes.
Of the people.
Of the people.
Are gathered together.
Are gathered together.
Even the people.
Even the people.
Of Elohim.
Of Elohim.
Of Abraham.
Of Abraham.
For the shields.
For the shields.
Of the earth.
Of the earth.
Belongeth unto Elohim.
Unto Elohim.
He is greatly exalted.
He is greatly exalted.
Hallelujah.
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 Abinu.
Abinu.
Sheba Shemayim.
Sheba Shemayim.
Yikodesh.
Yikodesh.
Shibka.
Shibka.
Tabo.
Tabo.
Makuteka.
Makuteka.
Yaseh.
Yaseh.
Rizoka.
Rizoka.
Sheba Shemayim.
Sheba Shemayim.
Gamba'ari.
Gamba'ari.
Teilanu.
Teilanu.
Adlekum.
Adlekum.
Zorkainu.
Zorkainu.
Hayo.
Hayo.
Umaka.
Umaka.
Lanu E.
Lanu E.
Komutainu.
Komutainu.
Kemoshiga.
Kemoshiga.
Anaknu.
Anaknu.
Okanu.
Okanu.
Lakiyevienu.
Lakiyevienu.
Wa'atavienu.
Wa'atavienu.
Ladeni Siyo.
Ladeni Siyo.
Allah.
Allah.
Hatilenu.
Hatilenu.
Minara.
Minara.
Kishoka.
Kishoka.
Hiyabaku.
Hiyabaku.
Wagabora.
Wagabora.
Watafera.
Watafera.
Leomei.
Leomei.
Olami.
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 Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem.
Baruch Hashem.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Hashem.
Hashem.
Yahoshua.
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 Mashiach.
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 Our Adonai.
Our Adonai.
Our Adonai.
Our Adonai.
Olam.
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 Elohim.
Elohim.
We praise you.
We praise you.
With a full heart.
With a full heart.
With a full spirit.
With a full spirit.
With a full mind.
With a full mind.
We praise you.
We praise you.
Toda Rabbah. For your mercy.
For your mercy.
Toda Rabbah. For your grace.
For your grace.
Toda Rabbah. For your love.
For your love.
Toda Rabbah. For the covenant.
For your covenant.
That you made.
That you made.
With Abraham.
With Abraham.
Yes, God.
Yes, God.
In Yahweh.
In Yahweh.
We pray.
We praise.
We pray.
We praise.
We pray.
We praise you.
With mighty heart.
Praise you.
We exalt your name. We exalt your name. We exalt your name. Above Elohim. Above all Elohim. On your earth. We give you praise. We give you glory.
Praise Yahweh.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Blessed
Praise
be
God.
your holy name, O Father.
Blessed be your holy name, O God.
The God of Abraham, Isaac, and
All
Jacob.
praises, God. Praises.
You remembered the covenant that you made with our forefathers, even when we turned our back against you.
Hallelujah. Praise Yahweh.
You remembered the blood that was spilled for the remission of our sins and iniquities.
You're worthy, King.
And as a people we say, Salak Lanu,
Shalak Lanu.
forgive us
Forgive us, O Yah,
for our transgressions.
for our transgressions.
Forgive us
Forgive us
for our iniquities.
for our iniquities.
Forgive us
Forgive us
for our sins.
for our sins.
For we had turned our back against
For
you.
we have turned our back against you.
And so now we face our mother Jerusalem
and we call upon your holy name. And the people say to you, hallelujah!
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 Praise be Yah!
Praise be Yah!
Dear Heavenly Father,
Hallelujah.
Creator of heaven and earth, in this moment I ask that everyone under the sound of my voice's spirit be centered in a receptive form to hear from you. I ask that your spirit rest upon each and every soul under the sound of my voice. I ask that every clap, hand, shout, praise is accepted.
Hallelujah!
Accepted by the praise. I ask that we repudiate every single ounce of darkness within us all. I ask that you send your fiercest angels to encompass around us as we praise you on this triple Sabbath. I ask that each person, every mother in this room is blessed. I ask that every father in this room is blessed. I ask that every husband in this room is blessed. Every child with breath in his lungs be blessed. Hallelujah. I ask that you look down upon us, but not in a shameful way, Father, but have pity upon us. I ask that you place a hedge of protection surrounding us all. I ask that everything we touch, think, imagine, or execute in thy will, judgment, statutes, commandments, or nature be prosperous. I ask that you keep the covenant of our forefathers, not the ones that sinned against you, but the ones that you respect. And that is in the name of our Mashiach, I pray. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah!
Brother Bless, can you close us out with a blowing of the trumpets? Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Praise the Father, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
You're worthy, King. Oh, King, you're worthy, Father.
Hallelujah! Hallelujah!
And the people say, Salah.
Selah.
Take a seat.
Hallelujah!
Almighty Elohim. Huh?
He's the king.
Y'all feel that energy?
I don't feel it.
Y'all feel that energy? In the Most High hand. Scriptures say, strive for the truth until death. Everybody say, count it all joy.
Count it all joy.
Count it all joy.
Count it all joy.
Whatever you are going through, count it all joy. It's only for a time. Right? Our foremother Esther knew that. She knew what she had to do as far as servitude to a heathen king was only for a time. She remembered the purpose of why she was there and never forgot it. And so I'm speaking to my sister. Sometimes you may go through a lot with your husbands, but don't forget why you're there. Don't forget the purpose. Because at the end of the day, when that man falls, you are the pillar that holds his back. And our foremother Esther knew that dealing with her cousin Mordecai. That I'm not here to exalt myself or even make myself equal. But first and foremost, it was to make a way for our people. By serving a man who Yah had chose to truly be the king. So this is a message to the daughters of Zion. If your heart is truly set on being an Esther or a Vashti. Right, Vashti, she created her own thing, right? Her own feast. Showed up when she wanted to. Totally, like you were saying. pretty much shaming her husband. Because a man is known by his fruits. Whether his wife is assimilated to him, or as you say, it's a duality. And so this king in Esther was faced with a duality. And so we have to ask ourselves, because a lot of us like to lean on this system and tell us what we should do. When it comes to our marriage, when it comes to who we want to marry, when it comes to how we raise our children, who could be in the house. This is what we have leaned upon to tell us how Hebrews should live. And it's not worked for us. So we went over the stats these last couple of weeks. Who remember what the stats was? What's the divorce rate in the black community? 75% divorce rate in the black community. This is what happens when you lean on the system on how you should choose your mate. How many one sexual couples raise children? I know what I mean, one sexual, what I'm talking about, right? What's the percentage of them that's raising our children? 60%. What's the number of black males who don't want to get married, never been married? 50%. This is the result of getting out of line with your ordained structure. Remember, Israel said, the Most High said what? All nations had a king, but Israel was what? His portion. And that's been the problem with Israel since the beginning. We always wanted a king like the heathens. We want our family structured like the heathens. We want to raise our children like the heathens. And it has not been successful for us. The only thing that has been successful was the plan that they established before we even got here. And so when we looked at the stats last week, and we look at those other cultures outside of America who somewhat keep Torah existed in their community, you know the success rate of arranged marriages? 70%. Y'all know the divorce rate in arranged marriages?
3%.
3%. When we read in the scripture, this was our custom. The parents gave off the children, and the children inherited the blessing. That's always been the structure of family. A woman never chose her mate. A man never chose his. It was always the parents who chose for him, because it was a structure and purpose why we do it. Most people who get married don't have a purpose. You come into marriage with 2 heads, 2 plans, 2 finances.
Maybe.
Maybe. And the thing is, it's not even structured the right way. A man got to get on his knees to tell a woman he wants to marry her. A woman not giving herself up to this man proves it. After the fact that they didn't consummate it. We do things backwards. We do the physical things first, then we try to tap into the spiritual things of marriage. And it does not work like that. We skipped steps. We went into the percentage of women who get raped. It was very high, especially in the black community. Very high. And a lot of the times, because women do not have coverings. And most of the people who rape them, they knew. They knew within their family, which means somebody left these women alone like Adam left Eve to be beguiled by the serpent. And so women, you have to be able to realize that what you thought was right may not be right. It may not be right. Trying to assimilate yourself to this system is only breaking the family even more. Okay? And so we went through the process last time of Jacob, right? And how he pursued Rachel. Did Rachel choose Jacob? Huh? Could she have made that choice on her own? Right? Could Jacob choose her?
No.
Who did he have to go through? His father. And so we have to get back to that process. Because as we see, when we look into these other cultures who somewhat are Torah-based, they have more of a success rate than the so-called black man who don't know who he is. Who don't know who he is. And so it is our duty for every male, and especially sisters, that we, no matter if it kills you or not, have to get back to righteous family structure as Yah has ordained. Because what you're doing now, do you understand, is not for y'all. It's for your children. Y'all gonna set the tone if your children inherit your curse or your blessing. Because it's going to be up to you to break the cycle that you continue on with from your parents and their parents. So it's on you if your child receives your curse and your blessing. And a lot of times right now it's on the sisters. Why? Because unfortunately the system has made it where they got more rights to the children than us. And the crazy thing is, you get to a point now, you sign a birth certificate, not only did you just sign your rights over to this woman, but you ultimately sign it over to the government. Because now they're putting the man right on child support most of the time, once he signed a birth certificate. This woman, you have to be able to identify that the system is against your men. You understand that? The system is against your men. And so, when you're trying to lean upon the system to determine how your marriage should go, because y'all got into it, you ultimately are playing the devil's advocate. Y'all follow me? And so we have to get out of this thing of individuality, and we want to do things on our own. And as the elder brought out last week, you got to be able to lose yourself. Because ultimately, to lose yourself means you have a greater reward. You understand? Wives, you lose yourself to your husband. Husbands, you lose yourself to the body of Mashiach. But guess what? Your reward is greater than what your king is. Like he said, what did Mashiach say he's going to do? He's going to what? Prepare a place for us. But if you're not assimilated the correct way, how do you expect to receive a reward? Y'all follow me? And so, let's go back into the story of Esther. We stopped at Esther chapter 1, verse 17.
Esther 1?
Yeah, Esther 1 and 17. Zakai, you want to read that one? Okay. You want to read that one? Huh? Esther chapter 1, verse 17. Actually, we'll start at 5, verse 5. No.
You said 1 and 17?
Nah, somebody get that for me? That's the one about, yep.
I got it.
Come on.
It says, and when these days were expired, the king made a feast unto all the people
Right.
that were present in Shimon. Shimon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shishon. The palace, both unto great and small, 7 days in the court of the garden of the king's palace, where were white, green, and blue hangings, fastened with cords of fine linen,
Right.
and purple, to silver rings and pillars of marble. The beds were of gold and silver, upon a pavement of red and blue and white and black marble.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave them drink in vessels of gold, and the vessels being divers, one from another. royal wine in abundance according to the state of the king. And the drinking.
He wants to speak a little louder and clear.
And the drinking was according to the law. None did he compel.
Right.
For the king had appointed to all the officers of his house that they should do according to every man's pleasure.
Now watch this. So this king is he's creating a feast, right? He want to celebrate with his people. He want to celebrate with the people, award them and all that, right? And like we went over last week, when a man is celebrating at the end of the night, he want to do what? He want to go to his woman. He wants to see his woman. He want to get comforted, right? And so keep going.
Also, Yashanti the queen made a feast for the woman.
For what?
For the woman.
Who told her to do that? Who told her to make a feast? So she made a feast for the woman. She made a whole feast for the woman. Come on.
In the royal house which belonged to the king Ahasuerus. On the seventh day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Nehemi, Bizeth, Harbona, Bigit, Abagath, Zethra, and Carcass, the seventh chamberlain that served in the presence of Ahasuerus, the king, to bring Yashanti the queen before the king with the crowd royal, to shew the people and the princess her beauty, for she was fair to look on.
Right, so he's trying to show off his wife. Right, come on.
But the queen Yashanti refused to come at the king's command.
So she refused. So she refused her husband.
By his chamberlains, therefore, was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him.
So now, what we have to understand is this. Yah created men in his likeness, right? Therefore, he created them to give the same type of instructions by way of word as he created the earth, right? And so what we have to understand is that man has that same principle and right to do that in his house. He gets to speak how he wants his house structured and aligned. You get what I'm saying? And so Vashti didn't realize that if her king needed her, you're supposed to be there. Because if you're in his house, like we in Yah, we can't tell Yah, well, I want to do this. Although you're telling me to go over here, I want to go this way. It would not make us right to. Right? And most of the time he does what? He whoops us. Or he chastises us. Or he's very angry. Or as the scripture put, he has wrath. And so what you see here is this king going through the same type of emotion dealing with his wife. She wants to do her own thing, go her own way, put out her own commandment, create her own identity. Create her own identity and dedicate a feast to herself. And so let's see what the king does. Come on.
The king said to the wise men, which knew the times, for so was the king's manner toward all of the knew the law and judgment. And the next unto him was Karshim, Sethra, Admatha, Tarshish, Meres, Marcina, and Memucan, the seven princes of Persia and Media, which saw the king's face, and which spake the first in the kingdom. What shall we do unto the queen Yashanti, according to the law, because she had not performed the commandment of the king Ahasuerus? Ahasuerus. By the chamberlains. And the Memucan answered before the king and the princess Yashanti the queen had not done wrong to the king only, but also to the princess.
So now let's look at this.
And to all the princes.
So now not only is the king offended, or has been offended, but she has offended his people. And so we have to look at that as the same thing when it comes to the family structure is, what image are you giving out to those around you? And truly, what example are you setting for the nation? Y'all following me? And like he was saying, You know a man by his house. If it's two dualities, we know there is not structure. So we have the same type of duality all through Israel. Do you think that other nations are going to look at us as lords and kings and gods, as they put it? No, they're going to say these people are out of line. And so ultimately, when a wife is not assimilated to her husband out of order like that, she is offending the nation. Just like a husband, when he's not in order, he is offending the nation because you're representing the nation. Just like this whole thing, I'm going to put out this argument I see with people all the time, right? A lot of people talk about camps, right? And camps do whatever they do, right? But at the end of the day, when it comes down to this government judging us, do they just look at camps or do they look at us as a nation? The whole camp of Israel, the whole nation in Israel. Whether you be assembly or congregation, we all represent each other. And so if a wife is out of line and not assimilating and following the command that her Lord ultimately is giving her, she has now represented the order of the nation. As you see what's going on with this king, the princes and all those who's under his rulership are offended. So let's see what they think about this. Come on.
And Mika'EL answered before the king and the princess, Vashti the queen has not done wrong to the king only, but also to the princes. And to all the people that are in the provinces of the king Ahasuerus.
To all the people, because she showed that if there's no order in the top position, there's no way it could be order in everything else. Y'all following me? So I can have my children, and my children can be golden, but if she out of order, ultimately they're going to think, bro, you ain't got your house in order. And so, sisters, you have to be able to understand this man's purpose so you know if you even fit for this man. Vashti was not fit because what the king wanted, she could not provide. And we talked about this. We talked about frequencies. You got the 432, you got the 528. Both of them are good frequencies. One higher than the other, but both of them are good. If I bring these together, would they be at a balance with each other? No. What's going to happen? They're going to bump head, a lot of noise. It's not going to be a smooth sound. It's just going to be this. And ultimately, both or one are going to break out like this. And now that very line that y'all had is broken. And so what we have to break in this instance is the curse of rebelliousness. Right? When we go into the curses, talking about the delicate woman, right? The delicate woman amongst us that have hate towards her husband and her children. We have to break that. Because ultimately, if you're in a position where you're not allowing of course, those fathers who want to see their children, not allowing this man to see his children, or whatever the case is break up the home, you ultimately hate your children. And so they start to do the same repetitive cycle that you did. When stuff get hard, they break off. And they block people, and it's just a continuous cycle of broken people, breaking people. And so the princess in here is like, oh, we got to nip this in the bud ASAP. This cannot be the representation of the kingdom nor the king. Right? So let's keep going.
For this deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women.
And so now, it should come abroad on all women. Meaning what? This type of mindset or disobedience is going to infiltrate our women. Come on.
So that they shall despise their husband in their eyes. When it shall be reported, the king Ahasuerus commanded Vashti the queen to be brought in before him.
And she came not.
But she came not.
Stop right there. And this is why we have to identify. Brothers, you got to be able to make sure the woman that you're going to marry is willing to be assimilated to you. And how do you know that? Who is her father or her elder? Who is she serving to tell you she's going to serve you well? Who's her Mordecai? Right? Somebody give me Sirach 25 and 23. Sirach 25 and 23. And so this is why Israel has to start cutting off the fat off the meat. Because it's not going to work. We can't say we're going to be a community with dysfunction. And before you talking about a building, before we talk about land, before we talk about community, what do your family look like? Because ultimately they got to know how to deal with other families. And if they not dealing with you correctly, brothers, why would you even assimilate her into other families where she can infiltrate and be a poison or a serpent to other men's wives? Y'all following me? And this is why we can't just look at the marriage, but we got to go back to the beginning on how these women were even transferred to other men. We have to be able to untill before doing real tilling. Y'all follow me? So her mind was on being American and being rebellious and she's her own woman and being independent. You have to untill and say, you're not your own woman. You got to learn how to serve. You don't have your own plan. We have a plan together, which is ordained by Yah. You don't have your own money. It's all in one. This is how, because we got to move in Echad. We're not moving like this. We got to move one. And so, if this is her mindset, brothers, for those who may want to deal with women who are in the world, you got to untill before giving yourself up. Because ultimately, before you plant seed, you got to till. So if you got to untill, that means you ain't even get to the tilling yet. So why even put yourself in a circumstance where you, although you're in the truth, have now circumcised yourself back into America? You knew this woman wasn't right. She don't want to follow the Most High. Yet you have planted spiritual seed in her. We got to start considering our ways. Whether you in the truth or not. You have to consider your ways. If you see the same repetitive routine from your parents and you see your past mistakes, why would you make the same mistake again? So as Hebrew men, we have to learn how to draw the line. As Hebrew sisters, y'all going to be very effective on setting the example of an Esther. Because if you do not, i.e. you having conversations with women who all she do is talk about men, creating these Proverbs 30 independent women groups, that don't go nowhere except exalting thyself. How are you expected to break the cycle? See, the thing is this. I'm going to tell y'all what's going to happen. Once our women rise up to these rebellious women, it's over. It's done. The earth is going to shake. Look what Fantasia did. She shook the world of women. Even saw some Hebrew sisters talking against her. Crazy, ain't it? Crazy. Oh, what she said ain't right, ain't how I'm supposed to go. But she's happy. And she ain't in the truth. And you in the truth, and you is bitter.
But you know what that... But I think the post-interview they did with her and her husband, they did a follow-up interview, and I guess he was giving his perspective on what submission was. But one thing that he was using as his authority was the scripture.
Yes.
You see what I mean? He was establishing, we can say whatever about it, but that part, which is probably the hardest part, submitting, she got right. So all of the ambiance, all of the apparel, the hair wrap and all that, she had more of that on in her heart than a sister who doesn't believe in it would. That's just a facade. She's not really living it, right? But Fantasia was an indictment against those sisters that so-called conscious, so-called Hebrew Israelites. She was an indictment against their inability to actually live out what their role is in the scripture.
Right. Right. Okay. And so, for all my Hebrew sisters in here, which I believe all y'all are righteous women, as Iman Gina described my wife as an aggressive, virtuous woman. It's gonna be y'all duty to stand up against these unfruitful women. Men been doing it long enough and been doing it so long, it don't even sound right no more.
And in addition, I think what happens is when the men do it, it's put in a way where, especially in this society, when you have men attempting to correct women, it's now sold as what they call it?
You might well call it hate speech.
Hate speech.
A feminist or something.
Feminist, chauvinist, sexist. What else? What's the toxic masculine? Right. You know what I'm saying? And so when men are actually doing it, and don't get me wrong, there's some men that are in the breach that literally go too far.
Yeah.
With and can most definitely fall under the guideline as actually being chauvinistic or even being a woman hater. And unfortunately, you have some men that are who has those issues, mama issues, women issues, and they see this Hebrew Israelite thing can justify the inadequacies as a man. So let's be balanced in that and say that yes, there is some men that do it. But I would say more than not, there's more men that just really just want to reestablish order, that's reading the scripture and saying, hey, I'm having to comply. I'm having to get my life in order. And this is how we follow suit. And I think because there's such bounce back from the sisters, the heat gets turned up. Right? And then what happened, we get brothers, then we get this tit for tit. Brothers going in, and then we get lost, everything gets lost in translation. So what Mika'EL said is 100% right. Is that when the sisters stand up, what happens is it literally loses the sisters' argument that are willing to be rebellious, because the sisters know all of their arguments. They know all of their antidotal arguments and disagreements.
Yep.
And sisters also who has changed and transition know that some of the behavior that the brothers is talking about is legit. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of them can say, yeah, you know what, my mother raised me this way, but now that I'm into this truth, you know what I'm saying, I'm allowing it to change me. And it would take those sisters that stand up and say, no, that's an excuse. No, I had the same excuse you had. Because us brothers have to do it too. We're doing it with men all the time. But we're going to have to bring balance in this thing. And it's going to take not a whole lot of sisters to get it right, because a lot of those sisters are going to look and see these women have men and they don't. You know what I mean? And the proof is just going to be in the pudding. Something I'm doing is not right. You know what I'm saying? Because these sisters, obviously, they got men and I don't. I'm just complaining about why I don't have a man.
Sirach 25 or 23.
Sirach 25 or 23. A wicked woman abateth the courage, maketh an heavy countenance and a wounded heart.
And that's what she did to the king. That's what she did. Had a heavy countenance and a wounded heart. Come on.
A woman that would not comfort her husband in distress, maketh weak hands and feeble knees.
Weak hands and feeble knees. Now you got nothing but beta males around us. And this is even the birth of a lot of the times when sisters are left alone to raise boys. This is why our women need a cover. This is why it was not good for her not to have a cover. See, we look at 1 Corinthians 11 too carnal sometimes. When that whole thing is talking about a spiritual cover. When you go through. talking about a spiritual covering. And so the Most High is telling you a woman uncovered is like a shamed woman. What does that tell you? Because a lot of times when men too, when you ain't got no covering or somebody who help guide you, you lost in the sauce. And you starting to fall to your own doctrine. That's why you see so much of it going on right now on Facebook, social media. I've never seen a wave of female teachers like this in my life. Because a lot of them, and the problem is, again, a lot of them been hurt. A lot of them was on their own coming into the truth. Right? And so as a people, we have to learn to identify what the problem. We have to stop running away from the problem now. We ain't got no more room to run away. The problem is right in our face and really in our homes now. And if we don't face it full on, we're going to be destroyed for a lack of knowledge. Period. First Samuel 15 and 23. 1 Samuel 15 and 23.
So 23 out.
Yeah. And so what we see is Vashti having a sense of not only pride, but rebelliousness. Right? Let's see what that is. Come on.
For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft.
Is what?
Is as the sin of witchcraft.
Come on.
And stubbornness is as iniquity in idolatry.
Start right there. It says, for rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. It don't matter what your husband do. This is the thing, we got to look past the whole thing. I'm not saying to do anything, but we got to look past this. It don't matter what your husband do, you still supposed to be in line. You still supposed to serve him. And guess what? That's why you supposed to have wise counsel. Yeah.
In the Bible, the witches admired a lot. So,
Yeah.
Just like you said, it doesn't matter what your husband do. It's the same structure for the Most High.
It's the same structure. But then what did that show you though? If you gonna change because your husband changed, meaning you obviously wasn't with him for the right reasons. If you change your attitude to how you serve because your husband changed, that means obviously before you got in, you weren't getting with him for the right reasons. And that's for a lot of us. A lot of us get for people because of the physicality, what they look like. Right? A lot of people's marriages, believe it or not, is not ordained. They think because you go to the courts, you turn the paper in, and you have this pastor who don't even believe in the Most High, and probably is a homosexual, is giving you off and telling you now, your marriage is ordained by Yah. Not only did he not tell you what you need to do in the marriage, but most of the time he didn't even acknowledge Yah. And you telling me your marriage is ordained. Who ordained it? Who ordained it? And is that how Yah said it to be?
And ordained means the preface with the prefix of ordained is
Order. And what's the order for Israel? Who gives off the daughter?
Father.
Did you talk to that woman's father? Wife, did you meet that man's father? Did his father approve of you? Because ultimately, I was like, yeah, I did. Yeah. That's right. All praises though. Right? And we have to be honest in our situation and say we are out of order. But we have an opportunity to get back in order. Y'all feel what I'm saying? And so the problem with a lot of men is we choose based upon appearances. And a lot of times we take the wrong women. And these ain't just no ordinary women. These women are women who are not in the best condition. When I say best condition, I mean spiritually. Case in point, we talked about 2 weeks ago They're having multiple fruitful partners, which means she's taking on multiple identities and not released herself from them. Right? She has multiple baby fathers. Right? So I mean, she's dealing with a problem on a daily. And a lot of times it ain't her fault, but she still got to deal with it. And guess who ultimately got to deal with it? You. She was not raised by a man or an elder. And so we as men have to look at this and say, what is the work that needs to be done before I consummate with this woman? These are hard conversations a lot of us avoid, but yet we want to skip everything and go to the major thing that's against Yah if it ain't in order, which is consummation. So you about to deal with 25 years of issues and untilling. I ain't even talking about tilling, but untilling, because you wanted to be fruitful and multiply those personalities. Because that's what really initially happened. You just multiply now your personality, knowing in your mind some things you can't deal with yourself. You got to deal with yourself plus those 20 plus spirits in her. Because you want them to go out of order. And it's for women too. You got to be honest and say, you know what? It's some things I got to work on. Because a lot of us, what we like to do for comfort, that's what it ain't really a tilling process or a covering. It's comfort. Is we go find the next man who will accept us for who we are.
And be honest with you, that's the last thing anybody should want. Is somebody accepting them for who they are.
Yep.
Especially if you came out of brokenness.
Mm-hmm.
You should want somebody that's going to accept you for that. First of all, you need to get counseling. You need to get healed. You need to get around a group of people that can be a mirror to you. That could serve as a mirror to you and help you see, that can literally rightly divide this truth, this word right here, and you able to stay in that light long enough to get purged. And so you can literally stay under the guidance of a person who you trust, of course, but somebody that is going to put you under the light of the truth, mm-hmm. and allow you to be get all that stuff out of you, get all of that carnality first of all, because there's levels to it. You got to deal with the carnality first, the carnal mind, then you got to get into the brokenness in the spirit, what somebody has been to, what's been attached to them. It's levels to this thing. It's levels to healing.
Yes.
And we don't want to do the tough work. All we think is that we can just put on this Hebrew veneer and start reading scripture, and then that's going to be it. And that's not going to do it. That's not going to cut it. It's not.
We often look at putting Hebrew garments on as a Christian baptism. I'm saying again, we often look at putting zit garments on as a Christian baptism. If you get baptized in water, you are saved and all your sins is gone. We dealing with 20 years of issue in your life, and you 6 months in the truth and you healed. You delivering. How? Where? On top of the 400 years of oppression that was instilled in you in your 20 years of life.
We don't want to deal with, man, that we were made to be slave-making machines.
That's why we like little rabbits, man.
We rabbits. We don't want to deal with the hard work of just confessing that these people have made us nothing but chattel. Breeders. We were told to breed. That is the only satisfaction in this life we really get.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not till we get in the kingdom that we start really actually see a reflection of what real order and what real accomplishments look like.
Right.
You know, we don't measure. We measure success from what the vantage point in which we've been indoctrinated. You know, and we do not see the fullness of what healing looks like until we actually, now that we actually have righteous leadership and eldership that's starting to step up, and when we're getting working models of what families look like. We're starting to get a glimpse of what our fathers used to live like. But we just brought we gotta be honest. There's some niggerdom in the Hebrew community. It just
Straight
is.
up niggerdom.
It is just what it is, man. I don't want to be rough about it. It just really is. It's some niggerdom in the kingdom.
A lot of nigga brews, man.
A lot of nigga brews. And we think that, yeah, you know. But, I mean, praise be to the Most High, we're starting to realize that what really reflects and looks like the kingdom is how did our fathers move?
Yes.
How did Abraham move? These were men of commerce. These were men of trade. These were men who were living kings. You know what I mean? And they dealt faithfully, and their name meant everything. We got to get back to a place alone where your name means something. Your reputation means something. You know? But what we do is that we like, oh man, I'm gonna move over. We talk about how the Christian church, people go from church to church. Well, we do that with different congregations.
Ooh-wee.
You see what I mean? We go from here to here, and we still in Christianity. We still in that mindset. Because what we do is we move to something else that's going to favor our flesh. That's going to appeal to our inadequacies and our shortcomings.
We almost have made this thing like being the big brother of Judaism. The way we structure, the way we move about things, we've become very religious and not familiarized with each other. You know what I'm saying? We've lost the touch of family. And unfortunately, because there's a lot of this media. Pharisee spirit. And the crazy thing is, a lot of Hebrews want to put it on non-Messianics who got that Pharisee spirit. But there's a lot of Messianics who got that Pharisee spirit. You want structure, you want to build, you want to do this, you want to prophesy another man's prophecy. It makes no sense. And so we got to stop looking from a religious standpoint and look at what made our nation a nation. Somebody give me Job 8. Job 8 and 7. Job 87. And then somebody give me Ecclesiastes 1 and 9. Come on.
Though thy beginning was small.
Though thy beginning was small. He's talking about family. He's talking about family, y'all. Though thy beginning was small.
Though thy beginning
before
was
those
small,
70 souls went into Mizraim. Come on.
Yet thy latter end should greatly increase.
Thy latter, and that's what's going on right now. Who got that Ecclesiastes 1 and 9?
The thing
Stay right there. Good, you go ahead. Come on.
The thing that has been.
The thing that has been.
It is that which shall be.
And is that which shall be. Come on.
And that which is done is that which shall be done.
Easy. We getting back to patriarchal family structure. And just like the beginning was small, it's going to be the remnant in this time who helps establish back the righteous kingdom of Yah. Those who getting tired of just talking are starting to become doers. And it's going to take y'all in this room to really push the pedal of this thing, man. We're no longer just going to sit on the corner and yell. If we're going to yell, we're going to say, bring your butt back home and let's establish some family structure. Y'all understand? That should be the new message. Let's establish our family. Because it's too broken. Read what you got.
For inquire, I pray thee, of former age.
Remember the former age. Come on.
And prepare thyself to search.
Prepare thyself to search who?
Of the fathers.
Who was our fathers? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Say it with me. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. When you look at their stories, you don't see a nation, do you? You see something getting set up to be a nation for the greater times and increase. What has been shall be again. Israel had its time to just talk. Now it's time to do. We're getting back to better sheets. You understand what I'm saying? That's the whole purpose of this lesson. To get back to better sheets. Establish your family first. Get grounded first. How can a man rule over Yah's people but not have ruled over his own household? We got a lot of unfruitful people outside representing us. Flat out. Men, women, and children representing us. It is time for us to reestablish and cry aloud and spare not that the true children of light is back. And that we are about to establish our family so great that our name shall be ringing through the generations. What you do now shall ring through the generations. Scripture tells, that's why we continue to hear about Dawid. That man established family to the point that his son was his successor. How many brothers in here got that right now? If you died today, would your children be good? Honestly, mine wouldn't. Mine wouldn't. I mean, if you good, raise your hand, brothers. You got something for your child right now. If you die, raise your hand. Why? Oh, you got something? Oh, hallelujah. Hey, remember, you know what I'm saying? There we go. But now we got to see, got to be more hands raised. Got to be more hands raised. Who can say successfully right now that they got their children so grounded to understand family structure? Raise your hand. You good, right? There we go again. Hallelujah. Right? We got to start there first. We cannot sit here and talk about, we can't really even talk about land to a certain extent because we can't even do what we can't even establish something where we renting at. We got to do better. Okay? Let's go ahead.
I think what we have to do is because again, I got to get back to the chattel system. We've disconnected even from our children by way of the chattel system. And when I say that, and this is for those in the majority, we don't see our children as living, functioning extensions of ourselves. We see our children as a means to an end. To some, it's a burden. To others, let me just help me get you to 18. You know what I mean? It's like, oops. You know what I'm saying? Oops, I didn't mean for that to happen. Your children, huh? I mean, let's have a calmer conversation.
Even that, think about this. We be planting that seed in our child's head at 7.
Right.
I can't wait till you 18. We planted in their head at a young age. I'm bad. Go ahead.
No, you good. And that's what we do. And we don't even have a healthy look at our children because our children are seen as, in some instances, as an afterthought of something of a night of us enjoying ourselves.
Ooh-wee. Oh boy.
And so when our fathers, when they looked at their children, they grabbed their children and they looked and said, this is the seed of my loins. This came out of me.
Yep.
At that point, everything they did before centered around that moment.
Even with the sisters though. They were so happy to bring forth this man's seed. They said, this is your child. A lot of sisters be like, this is my child, my baby. No. These women, this is your seed. I'm honored to have went through this process of tilling your seed for you.
Okay. So even as young, and this isn't about indicting anybody who's been there. Straight up. Son from a mother with 3 different baby daddies. Let's be real. Huh?
Oh.
No, I'm holding up my hand just to say. I am.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm saying, I got a hold of my hand with that, right? And we have to be.
Oh, you saying son-in-law? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But we have to be willing to be okay with being honest with that reality. But when are we going to say enough is enough?
Yeah. Great question.
Who's going to draw the line in the sands and say, not me? You see what I mean? Who's going to be able to refrain themselves as a man from a woman until he's able to satisfy his obligations to be a father even before he has a father, even before he has a son? Can he look at his finances and say, I could bring a bane in this world and he's going to be good? I'm going to bring a daughter in here, and I know that I've established relationships with other men that I know my daughter is going to be taken care of. Men that when I look at another man's son, I can see my reflection in him, in his attributes, in his deeds, and in his actions. And so when I hand my daughter off to her, I can feel safe. See, because the thing is, in being a prophetic people, we're supposed to be thinking ahead. Our whole lives are prophetic as the nation of Israel. We are an example of the blessings and the curses. We always go to it. These are signs. But our children are also. Now, do we want our children to be a sign of our continuous disorder? So we got to begin to have sober moments with ourselves in everything we do. It's got to be beyond satisfaction. It's got to be beyond, hey, you know what? We straight up. We don't want to think about it. We be mechanical about everything else until it comes down to the procreation and being productive human beings. As far as producing new offspring that are going to be healthy thinking, and me putting them in an environment that's going to create and bring the highest potential. They're going to be able to maximize their life through what I've secured for them. This is adult conversations, but we have been children for so long. Even our families, our mothers and our fathers, even in their grown up state, but in their mind, they have been making more slaves. And we gotta stop that. We gotta get a hold of ourselves and say, no, boom, this is what I'm gonna do. As men, I'm going to refrain. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to refrain from this. I'm going to start looking at my money and say, can I afford this? Can I do this based on that? Can this get done and can this get accomplished? You see? And that's hard. Because that's what it may be a lot of work I have to do before I can actually tell a woman to come into my tent. Huh? And it's okay. But we gotta be able to, we gotta, first of all, we gotta apologize. Our children need an apology.
Yeah.
Not by our, not necessarily with our mouths, but with our action. I'm sorry.
You're good. I want everybody to say this. And I want you to look around the room when you say it. Say, I apologize for my actions.
I apologize for my actions.
And from this day, I will be a new creature.
From this day, I'll be a new creature.
I will establish an inheritance.
I will establish an inheritance.
That my children's children.
That my children's children
shall reap the reward.
shall reap the reward.
And that should be everybody's goal. Hallelujah. We are no longer bringing children in this world without a covering, without a sense of protection. We are no longer bringing children into this thing or persona of saying that we've been saying that we've come into sin. We have a chance to say my children came into a blessed situation. We have to stop leaning on the curses for our situations. One thing you really realize when you read scripture is that the prophets and everybody else had an option to change their situation. Stop looking at it as this some mystical book where it's just, oh, I'm going through this because it's the Most High. Yeah, He gave you a pathway. You chose the wrong one. He always gave you a choice. You just chose the wrong choice. Ain't no mystical thing that happened to you. You going through a test. No, you just chose the wrong door to go through. And now you trying to tug at it to get out. Not knowing the key is right at your foot. So we about to bring children in this world who are blessed. There's no longer going to be fatherless children. Why? Because the scriptures say be a father to the fatherless. You understand? There's no longer going to be widows with no covering. Because He said be a covering to the widows. Do y'all understand? But we first must understand where we are so we can get to where we need to be.
Be agreeing.
That's right. That's right. Hallelujah. All right. You want to make sure you get a virtuous woman, young man.
Right. Yeah.
So we have to do better. But again, we have to have that uncomfortable conversation and just say, I was a filthy rag. Everybody say, I was a filthy rag.
I was a filthy rag.
You have to face your sin. You tried to bury it with another sin,
Right.
and it just got smacked back in your face. You trying to run from the Most High, smack the other cheek. You got whatever, you smack the other cheek. You're going to face this problem. You know what I'm saying? We got to start running from it. So now we have to establish this. Oh, what did that look like for us? Right? And so what women have to understand is this. Through all your filthiness, and this for brothers too, through all your filthiness, through all your sin, if Yah has sent you a righteous man, that man has redeemed you. I'm going to say it again. If He has sent you a righteous man that not only is going to accept you, but still do the until process, He has redeemed you. Women, if you got a husband in here today, you look at him and say, Isha, you redeem me. Look at him. Look at that man.
Isha, you redeem me.
There we go. Right? Because he did. And just like that man has been redeemed himself.
I'm jealous.
No, we can do this too, brothers. If you got a brother who's been taking the time in to help you and mold you in this truth, look at that man.
Bro, I'm with you, homeboy. Hey, bro, I know what I want.
Hey, brothers, humble yourself, man. Brothers, humble yourself, man. Humble thyself, baby, man. Hey, y'all better look at that man and say, brother, you redeemed me, man.
Brother, you redeemed me.
Brother, you redeemed me. Brother, you redeemed me. Brother, y'all redeemed me. Hey, man, it's nothing wrong with giving a brother his props. Tell you redeemed me, brother.
I'll tell you this. Better than nothing.
that you was looking for your whole life.
You redeem me, huh?
It's better than nothing.
He gave you something that you was looking for your whole life. Whose life has changed because that one brother took the time to talk the word to you? Raise your hand. So why can't we give props? Right? Give it. Oh, y'all look so uncomfortable, brother. No, brother. I'm gonna get that one alone. Y'all crazy, man. But seriously, back to our sisters, this man has redeemed you because by law, I want to show y'all something. By law, let's go to Leviticus 21:10. By law, this is what was supposed to happen. He like, yeah.
Let's go there.
Yeah, let's get it. Leviticus 21:10.
And he that is high,
Yeah, go ahead.
and he that is high, the high priest among his brethren.
Right, so these men of stature, these high priests who are in high position of governing the people, right? Look what the Most High said about these people. Come on.
Upon whose head the anointing oil was poured.
Was your man not anointed to cover you? Come on.
And that is consecrated to put on the garment. Shall not uncover his head, nor rend his clothes.
Right.
Neither shall he go up into any dead body.
Are you going into a woman who's spiritually dead? Are you going into a woman who is spiritually dead? Come on.
Nor defile himself for his father, or for his mother.
Right.
Neither shall he go out of the sanctuary, nor profane of the sanctuary of his Elohim.
Right.
For the crown of the anointing oil of his Elohim is upon him.
So the person,
I am Elohim.
the person who gave you this crown, you ain't representing yourself. To sisters and brothers, you're not representing yourself. You are representing something greater than yourself. You following me? So this is talking about the high priest. Come on.
Neither,
Okay. Go ahead.
neither shall he go into
Watch this. Come on.
go read verse 13, right? And he shall take a wife in her virginity.
In her what?
Virginity.
In her what?
Her virginity.
This is a woman who had never been touched by a man. Y'all follow me? This was a woman who never been touched by a man. And so our women have to understand that if a man who is called to be such in high position like this, which we are called to be the anointing of Yah, the co-shepherds, if he is taking the time to till you and allow his seed to be planted into you, you better realize he has redeemed you. Because a woman is saved by what?
Childbearing.
Oh, so it has to do something with consummation. Because if you touch or you ain't touched, what do you need childbearing? In that sense. And so this man has redeemed you by allowing you to bring forth his seed. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know if I want to go this deep, but you in here, so I'm gonna keep it up. We'll keep it G. I want to talk about virginity and the biology. I was actually doing a little study on this, on that significant part of the woman that proves that she's still virtuous. It's actually shaped like a fringe. It's like shaped like a fringe, the way it goes around, right? But the deeper element of that is that why anytime there's blood drawn, that is identified with sacrifice.
That's what you, yes. There you go. Go there.
Go ahead.
Go there.
Show.
Always doing that.
So So when the woman is that thing, that significant part of the woman is pierced, she no longer is a sign of her death. Just like when the man is circumcised from his flesh. He is being sacrificed under Yah. His flesh is being sacrificed. He no longer belongs to himself. The woman is pierced, breaks through. She no longer belongs to herself. And this is why it's so important that when we get back into the law of the virgin daughter, because this is actually a witness on earth that we have been purified as a people again. Because remember, what is he coming back for? A bride without what? Spot or blemish. So I believe, and this is me, this is me, there's got to be a generation of Hebrew Israelites where we are returning back to these standards. I could get a lot more into it, but there is most definitely a law where that woman, and that's why the man says, she is now my possession. See, when the man is circumcised, he is Yah's possession. She becomes his possession, and we all become a codbite of this sacrifice. And that's why the token of the virgin was there, because that was a token of her death, that she can die. If she's already died to another man, that's why we have the law that so long as that man lives, she is what? Under the law of her husband. So there's connections. There's a constant chain that should not be broken. Okay?
Okay. So I want to finish out Leviticus 21. Start at verse 13. Oh, you had that? Leviticus 20.
I'm at 21, 22.
Leviticus 21, read verses 13 through 15.
Okay. And he shall take a wife in her virginity, a widow.
Because remember this. I'm going to start it. He should take a wife in virginity. Remember, when you understand the process of marriage in ancient times, remember, we all were bought with a price. And so, if this man was paying for this woman, because that's how it was, of course a man is going to pay for quality. High quality at that. Because now he gets to till and assimilate this woman to himself and don't have to deal with any part of her that has dealt with another man. Y'all follow me?
Okay.
And so this has caused, that was to make sure there was a balance and structure in the marriage. Y'all follow me? And so that's the same thing dealing with Israel and Mashiach. He wants to purge us from this Babylonian mindset. And he ain't coming back for us until we do it. And so the question got to be, because we always got this thing about mercy and grace, and that is very true. But do you think the Mashiach coming back for any type of blemish? When you sacrificed, if there was a blemish, you were killed. So what do we get this thing where, oh, he's going to accept me as I am. He knows my heart. Yeah, he know that you ain't really trying to submit to him. Same when it comes to husbands. And that's why brothers got to have that same type of high stature for themselves. And got to put respect back on themselves. And women got to do the same thing. Shouldn't no man just be able to touch you. He got to pay for it. That sounds pretty bizarre in this time, right? It sounds pretty bizarre. But the truth is a man paid for what he actually wanted. That's why they say a wicked woman is given to the hands of a wicked man. You get what you pay for. And so if you want the high quality and righteousness, this is what they were looking for. Y'all follow me?
Let's be honest, we still operate on those principles. Period. Let's be honest. A woman understands the best way she can quantify her value is what that man brings to the table. That's still in operation. Period. That's still the pretty much the foundation in which most relationships work. And it's not the only thing that makes it unhealthy is for that person that has been devalued to believe that they still have that right to expect that. That's the only thing that makes it wrong. And it's all of us. It's all of us. This is the beauty of Hamashiach. He restores our value.
Right.
By his blood.
Right.
He redeems us by way of his blood. His blood had to be shed to increase our value in the economy system of the kingdom.
That's the only way we got back to the covenant.
That's the only way we got back to the covenant. And we don't want, and I did a lesson on it a few months back, but we don't want to believe that the Most High has an economy. It's a kingdom. It's a king. No, go ahead, please.
No, I actually have to go somewhere, so I didn't want to interrupt.
No, okay.
It's a lot on
No problem.
So it's a kingdom, and within that it has trade and commerce.
Shabbat shalom, y'all.
Shabbat
It's a
shalom.
lot.
See everybody tomorrow.
Okay, 4 o'clock, yo.
All right, 12 o'clock.
All right, so we went through that, right? And so we have to understand that the way America has taught us, man, woman, and child, it has truly failed us. It has truly failed us. Give me Proverbs 31:3. Proverbs 31:3. Go ahead.
Give not thy strength unto a woman, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings.
And so this woman, this system has made us, let me say not made, this system has been put in a way that a man has to submit to a woman. And the one thing they are using against this man to do it is his own children. And so this is why it's very important for sisters to understand you're going to have to sacrifice yourself for the betterment of the nation. Y'all follow me? You're going to have to sacrifice yourself for the betterment of the nation. There's no other way around it. We tried every loophole in the book, and it has not worked. We tried equality. Only where we tried to seek equality is amongst each other, because the other nations wasn't happening. We tried leaning on their system. All that did was tear our families away. We tried this whole independent thing, you bringing this in, I bring this in. It's not worked, because one person tried to exalt himself over the other. Only way we have ever been successful is following the patriarchal structure of Yah, as he ordained it since the beginning of time with Adam and Eve. Okay?
Okay.
There's no other way. So if you're not serving the way of Yah, you literally are serving the way of Hashatan. Facts. Your thinking process, if it's not of the way of Yah, is feeding the ways of Hashatan. You have to die. You have to die and become that man. Just like that man has to die and become the embodied image of Mashiach. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Y'all follow me?
Yeah.
If Mashiach had to become a living sacrifice to this woman, why don't men think it's this? They ain't got to do the same thing, but yet they want a submissive woman. What are you sacrificing for her? Y'all follow me? So we got to get back in patriarchal structure. Proverbs, hop down on Proverbs 31:10.
Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is fair above rubies.
Read that one more time.
Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies.
This is the golden scripture they like to go to. But somehow they forget that this woman had a husband. How is that? We went over this. What does virtuous mean in the Hebrew? You not for sure why you asking me?
Because my guess. I don't know.
Anybody else? What does virtuous mean?
Pure.
Pure? What'd you say? Hey, he said expensive. So the Hebrew word for virtuous is kayil. Everybody say kayil. So it means a force. It means an army, wealth, virtue, valor, strength, able, active, right? And so, if this is a sense of power, who gave her that power? Because all power comes from the source. So, woman, if you are independent, who are you getting your power from? Or is that just an illusion? Because if it ain't your husband, it's probably that serpent that was in the garden. Y'all follow me? And so, yeah, women, you have great power. Probably one of the strongest beings on this earth. But all power has a source that helps govern it. Y'all follow me?
Say that again.
So I say you are very powerful, right? But all power has a source that governs it. President Trump ain't just saying what he wants. There's a government that governs what he says. Do you understand what I'm saying? The United Nations also has a government over it. Y'all follow me? So where when it comes to family structure, that this power that y'all have is not governed? Because when you read through Proverbs 31 and all this power that she was obtaining and all these things she did, it was by way of her husband who was at the gate. We went through, was talking about the Shanti tribe. When you look at the structure of the Shanti tribe, that woman who is the king's wife has power. But the only power is her access that he allows her to have. Y'all follow me?
Okay.
So when we understand the power and the source and the oneness within that, we will be a better people. Y'all follow me? And so I want to read from this book. Again, this is called Atonement Hymn. This is by Dr. Gina Murray. Very powerful book, very structured book. Definitely hitting on the structure of family. Before we go into Bereshit, as they say, before we go into Exodus, we got to learn and master Bereshit. So I want to read from this book. This is page 128. Want to read? You gonna read to page 31.
Starting at there?
Yep.
Okay.
So this is from the book The Atonement by Dr. Gina Murray, and she put it in the most beautiful way possible to understand this virtuous woman and the role of this virtuous woman. And it was all scriptural. So I want y'all to hear this. Come on.
When a man takes the wrong woman, a woman who is not in the best condition to fully complete the assimilation
The
process.
assimilation, we went over that. What does assimilation mean? Huh? What is assimilation? To become one, right? To fully understand the purpose of what we're doing here. Right? Come on.
Go back a little bit. Who is not best conditioned to fully complete the assimilation process.
And so my question to brothers is, if you haven't started the assimilation process with this woman before laying with her, why would you even make that type of commitment? Why put yourself through that stress? Because you're gonna eventually have to come back to it anyway to deal with the problem. Come on.
And become a wife, he will suffer.
He will what?
Suffer.
He will suffer. Come on.
In trying to lead her, she will be so unaccustomed to submission and the teachings of Elohim that he will really have to toil in the effort to disavow the error that she has accepted.
And so because you skipped the process, brother, of how you should find a wife, you took it upon yourself to do it. Now you got to do all the hard labor and effort with all that effort, you may not even be successful with it because you did not take the time to even prove this woman. Y'all following me? And so this is what the king had to deal with Vashti. He didn't properly assimilate her to himself. And so because of that, she promoted pride and rebellion to the point she started to have this idea that she was king and created her own feast. Come on.
He oftentimes will not be mature enough or strong enough to stay rooted in the word.
And so because you went outside the lines of how you needed to be tilled and governed and processed, now you're doing the same process or lack thereof when choosing a mate. Come on.
To stay rooted in the word,
right,
and rooted in his role. Her emotional torrents may sweep him up and plunge him into the abyss of frustration,
right,
depression, and regret. He cannot work effectively or fulfill his purpose.
Because because you didn't take the process right, all your time that's supposed to be spent on doing the will of Yah, you got to spend on dealing with this woman who really ain't trying to assimilate herself to you. She just liked you because you look good. She just like you. She only using you for what she want. And so now you got to deal with that headache. It may not even be successful at the time you putting in. This is why we have to go back to patriarchy of allowing our elders who know better than us, who know what we thinking without us telling them to choose our mate. He already know you need a woman for this. Or you can't have this type of woman because she going to ruin you. You don't know yourself. So how can you choose best for yourself? And Yah said we were called to be at peace. So why go outside the peaceful structure that he already set for your own fulfillment? Okay? Keep reading.
He cannot work effectively or fulfill his purpose on days when he is wrapped up in worry about the status of his marriage and the unreasonableness of his wife's emotional demands. If he is emotionally distraught or up and down,
now he's tossed to and fro his emotions. Come on.
In a roller coaster type relationship, he will be a candidate for alcohol or substance abuse.
So now she show you a little bit of submission that you want to keep around. And then she banging on you. Now you trying to figure out what we should stay with. And then she go back to being unsubmissive. Now you drinking yourself into a water hole. You putting yourself through. This is the reason men die. Early. This is the exact reason black men die. Because you dealing with a woman's emotions who don't even know herself, don't even know where she come from. You don't even know yourself. And so now you got, remember we always went up, what's the two things black men die for?
Drinking and women.
That was talking about Jew, but I'm talking about in the stats today is health, stress, and stress at home. The average age for a black man to make it is 60 years old. That man going through it. You got brothers out here got gray hairs about 30. Because they so stressed out at home. They sitting there banging their head against the wall trying to figure out when it's going to be over. And a woman just sitting there jumping on the bed with the pillows. You gonna get over here. We got to get back to righteous order, or we're going to fall as a nation. If Yah has ordained it, according to 1 Corinthians 11, why would we go outside of that? And so women, you have to be able to say, you know what? Maybe I still got a little Babylonian in me. This is where you have to admit your faults first. Remember it said confess your faults to one another, then pray together and then be healed. And so we're not confessing our issues and these things, this cycle that we've continued on from our parents, and not be able to check it, rebuke it, disavow it, and then pray together that Yah heals our family and righteous structure. How do we expect to get back to a nation? We can't keep saying community, ain't no community. Because with community, you got unity. Unity and oneness. Y'all follow? Come on.
essentially trying to self-medicate the depression and the anxiety caused by the disorder.
Uh-huh.
Let me read the scripture to it.
Yeah, you can just
Okay. He is supposed to be a leader in the community or in the territory that the Most High has given him to rule.
Now remember, this was the husband that was at the gate. This is his duty, men. This is your duty to be co-shepherds, husbandmen. You're supposed to be seeking other men that can help lead our nation. But if you're so busy in this emotional roller coaster at your house, you're not going to ever fully be assimilated to Yah. Come on.
His dominion is a benevolent stewardship where he takes on the responsibility to look out for and care for the needs of others. How can he help anybody if he is most concerned about medicating his own emotional pain? His mother's statements are not really an absolute prohibition of alcohol. So let me read that better. His mother's statements are not really an absolute prohibition of alcohol. She is warning about a major cause of the state of mind of men who seek to be drunk or high.
And so that's talking about the Proverbs 31. I believe it's verse 4, right?
Yes.
And then just going back to what we talked about when we talked about the testament of Judah. What did Judah warn his children of? To be warned of what? Nope. Alcohol and what? Women. Our forefather told us what we need to prepare ourselves for and what not to fall to. Alcohol and women. If you fall to women, most of the time you're going to be an alcoholic. You trying to figure out how to get out this emotional roller coaster. And so you're going to go to the comfort of spirits. Right? Come on.
In modern cities and towns in the West, one can easily find men with poor mental health who live on the streets caring only about obtaining their next drink or fix. It is not, keep going. I thought you said something. It is not true that these men are not talented or gifted, and so many of them can trace the point of crisis to a falling out with a woman that they love. Broken hearts are not just the stuff of twangy country songs. The health of marriage is a major threat to the fabric of society.
And that's our society. That is the biggest issue of why we can't be successful as a people. You may got some people who have individual success, but what does that mean if your people ain't right? It means nothing, right? It means absolutely nothing. No, keep going.
All of these things are destroyed. All of these things that destroyed kings are the opposite of what the virtuous woman helps her husband to do.
And so you have to read the virtuous woman 31 from the top to bottom. You can't just start at 10 and then try to make it seem like this woman is working for herself. Come on.
Instead of letting him forget the law, when he sees her works, he is grateful, and he is reminded of the law of the one who gave him her for a wife.
I'll say that one more time. Who what?
The one who gave him her for a wife.
Do y'all see the order in that? He didn't choose this woman. It was his father who chose her because he knew what that son needed. Y'all following me? We have failed at choosing our own mates. Do y'all follow me? Right? And so, essentially, if this woman is assimilated, as Elder Thomas would say, you should be able to give a woman something and she bring it back double and multiply. All you got to say is hallelujah. Right? You should be able to say hallelujah. Just like his example is, if you give a woman your seed, right? It's nothing, really. I mean, it's a little particle, whatever. And she bring you back this full-size human being. She has multiplied what you have given her. Huh? Naturally. Organically. Not GMO. She gave me this organic, unvaccinated baby. And said, this is not my seed, but this is yours. You're welcome. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Right? And so that's how it should be. That was the whole purpose of the beginning. To be what? To be what? Fruitful and... Let's say it again. Be what?
Fruitful and multiply.
One more time so we understand it.
Fruitful and multiply.
That is every last one of y'all do. He like, yeah, I'm ready right now. So that is your duty. To be able for your husband to give you something and you multiply it. You understand? Because that was the assignment to Israel. He gave us the law and the testimony to multiply and glorify him. As above, so below. As in heaven, so on earth. Let's keep going.
It is not by It is not by her taking and saying that she is a virtuous woman, or by the Proverbs 31 monogrammed on her purse and license plate. She does not have to tell men or the community that she is virtuous.
Because your words going to speak for you. Just like for brother, you ain't got to say you're a prophet or you're a great teacher. Let your words speak for you. Come on.
She does not have to try to court or pursue men to try to get a husband by putting on a virtuous churchy act.
So you ain't got to put on no head wrap or no dress and no fringes to get a righteous man. Because by your works, it's going to be given to you. Come on.
He will not know for sure just by her looks, her clothes, or her charming personality that she is indeed virtuous. There will undoubtedly be many young women which appear chaste and virtuous in their dress.
Oh, I got fringes on,
head covered,
hair wrap, got my lion earrings on.
Hey.
Got my little Bible all dressed up.
Not the lion earrings,
Hey man, I got this shofar for you, baby.
I like it with the lion earrings on.
He said I like it with the lion earrings.
I can give you about 10 precepts, brother.
You wild boy.
Come on, man.
Head covered, maybe veiled. Dressed down to the floor, wearing extra undergarments, so it's
Hey, honest to Eva Gina Murray.
shots out.
Hey, read that again. What she look like?
Let's go from the beginning.
Physical virtuous woman.
Right, young women which appear chaste
You
and
gotta read it
virtuous.
like a commercial, huh?
Oh, young women. Young women which appear chaste and virtuous in their dress. Head covered, maybe veiled. Dressed down to the floor. Wearing extra undergarments so as not to show any skin.
You're a Christian girl.
There will be those. No, let's get serious.
But wait, there's more.
Right. There will be those who seem very sweet in their demeanor while they are hoping to get a husband. There will also be young women from prestigious family of means, seemingly a guarantee of political and social status. The virtuous woman is set apart from other women.
Right.
Who have one or more positive characteristics.
So it ain't just because you look good. It ain't just because you cook. Come on.
The defining themes which characterize a virtuous woman is her ability to assimilate to his calling and thereby start with his situation as it realistically is and roll up her sleeves and work tirelessly to improve his situation.
No, her situation.
His situation.
Her situation.
His.
I got you. Man, you go to the bathroom, huh? That type of woman, man, you gotta run. Huh? Run from that type of woman, huh?
Oh, somebody in there.
So, this is what this woman is. Like we said, she's a help me, a czar, right? And so, it ain't just because she could cook. It ain't just because she look good. She ultimately has to have the spirit to be able to assimilate to you. Cause I would rather take a woman who can assimilate to me and I can teach her virtuously, rather than a woman who has all these talents and cannot assimilate to me. What does it mean if you're not giving it to the righteous order that Yah has ordained you to? He didn't give you those gifts for no reason. It was to help a man who Yah gave a plan to uplift his glory. Y'all follow me? And so it said, you good, huh? So it says, she dies of any personal agenda and gives herself entirely, not just 90%, give herself entirely over to the prospering of his household. Of his household, yes. Read that. It says she dies of any personal agenda and gives herself entirely over to the prospering of his household. This is the picture of a capable wife or helpmeet. And he quotes this: who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband doeth safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. He should not want nothing. It should be waiting for him as soon as he hit the door. Just like that. No D-O-O-R is dough. Right? The heart of her husband doeth safely trust in her. And so, do you trust in your wife that much with everything, knowing it's still yours? Or do you have questions? And if you have questions, then obviously the situation needs to be handled. Okay? And so this is what the virtuous woman was. She is able to die of herself and resist herself for the prosperity of his household. Not a household, his household. Y'all follow me? She had her own, she don't have her own agenda. When our daughters was raised in the ancient time, they didn't have their own plan, because initially, whatever her husband wanted to do, that's what she did. So this idea of having your own plan, y'all might as well dead it now. It's what your husband, again, whatever his household is, of course, but it's what your husband needs and wants. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. And so that's the beginning of the book of the Demi-Ham. It get real in this book. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. For men and women. If you don't gut check yourself in this book, something wrong. This definitely make you kind of reflect on your own decisions, right? And so now let's get to the nitty gritty of who we're talking about here. Let's get to Esther chapter 2. Hey, I see what you did. Nah, I see what you did. I go upstairs. I see what you did. You assimilated yourself over there. All right, let's get it. Esther chapter 2, verse 1. Who got it? Esther chapter 2, verse 1.
After these things, when the wrath of the king Ahasuerus was appeased, he remembered Vashti and what she had done,
right,
and what was decreed against her. Verse 2. Then said the king's servants that ministered unto him, let there be fair young virgins sought for the king.
So now he wants one who he can personally assimilate himself to. Right? He wants one who has not been tainted mentally and physically by another man. Come on.
Verse 3. And let the king appoint officers in all of the provinces of his kingdom, that they may gather together all of the fair young virgins unto Shushan, the palace, to the house of the women, unto the custody of he and the king's chamberlain, keeper of the women, and let their things be purification.
Exactly.
Be given them.
This is what he was looking for, and all men should look for. One, you are able to assimilate, and even one who may have been touched, right? But the point is, she should be able to be assimilated unto you. You follow me?
She should have the mindset, whether she has been corrupted by the world or not, that she wants to be redeemed. Y'all follow me? She wants to be redeemed. And so if she don't have this mindset, meaning to be redeemed, meaning you have been not only saved, but you're ready to be restructured. Y'all follow me? You're ready to be restructured, whether you've been touched or not. Because even virgins can come from an unfruitful family. Right? We ain't going to be too unfair here. Even they can come from an unfruitful family. And so let's get to Proverbs 14:1. So this is what we should be looking for. A woman who has not been defiled by the thinking philosophies of a corrupt system. Proverbs 14:1.
Every wise woman buildeth her house.
Hold on, say it again.
Every wise woman buildeth her house.
So a wise woman is going to build her house up. She's going to understand the order of this house. She's going to understand her role in this house. Come on.
But the foolish plucketh it down with her hand.
With her hand. So she plucked down her philosophies. Oh, she still has the Gentile state of mind. She wants to be rebellious. She wants to usurp authority over you by breaking your commandments, because man can set commandments in this house. Breaking your commandments.
Foolish in her pride.
And you can tell by the way your children act towards you. If you got some. These are all ways to see if she has been assimilated to. Just like for us, we examine a man by his wife. If you got children, you should be able to examine your wife by your children. Y'all, I'm going to say it again. Just like a man examined by how his wife is towards him, you should be able to examine your wife by how your children are towards you. And even her. Y'all follow me? Everything is going to get balanced around here and weighed out. Everything. From the rooty to the tooty. Y'all understand me? So read that again.
But the foolish plucketh it down her with her hands. Every wise woman buildeth her house.
Right.
But the foolish plucketh it down with her hands.
So the foolish woman plucketh it down, which means there was never meant to be two individual minds in the house. This is a Roman Greco mindset. To think that it's going to be two plans and two minds, when the body only has one head and one mind. Which means, if we are functioning in these type of parts that's unnatural, give me James 1:8. If we are functioning in these type of parts which is unnatural, two heads, two minds, sound like Medusa to me, then this is what happens. James 1:8. James 1:8.
James 1:8.
He was a
double.
Oh,
you got it?
No, go ahead. That's what's up.
A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
Oh, the them and him, he created him, he created them. And so ultimately, this is an unstable house. This is an unstable house. Read that again.
A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
It's two minds. It's double minds in this house. It's unstable. It's falsely balanced, which means this house is what? An abomination. Therefore, it shall fall. Y'all follow me? And so no man wants this type A woman. You thinking for yourself. You making your own rules. You moving on your own command. No type of man wants. No righteous man wants this. Some brothers get a kick off that type of stuff. But no righteous man is gonna want a woman who thinks for herself. Because you should not want a man who thinks for himself. It has to be a bigger purpose of what he's doing. His mind should be assimilated in Yah. Meaning your mind, if you assimilate to him, should be assimilated ultimately to Yah. Y'all follow me? Proverbs 21:19.
It is better to dwell in the wilderness than with a conscious and an angry woman.
Ooh, say that one more time.
It is better to dwell in the wilderness than with a conscious and
contentious
and angry woman.
What does contention mean? Huh? Always want to talk back, right? Always want to question what you say. You said hottie. What you said?
Oh,
the hot girl something?
No. I totally forgot about what you just said. I like my shot.
Contentious, causing or likely to cause an argument or controversy, involving heated argument, a person giving an argument or provoking one to argue. So what would provoke a man to really want to argue with a woman?
She keep going back and forth.
She going back and forth, questioning you what you said, not doing what you said. This is a contentious woman. And the Most High said what? It was better, brothers, for you to dwell in the wilderness. It was better for you to be with the raccoons and squirrels out there to be in this contentious house. Is this the type of woman y'all want? Woman, this is the type of woman you want to be. So what we got to do? Get back in order. You said pray. We definitely got to pray. All praise. So now, let's go into the scheme of things. Let's get back to Esther, chapter 2.
I got a precept for that.
Please, bring it out.
Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 9. For the blessing of the father establishes the house of children, but the curse of the mother rooteth out foundation.
Say it one more time.
It's Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 9. For the blessing of the father establishes the house of the children.
So the father establishes his boy's house or woman's house. Come on.
But the curse of the mother rooteth out foundation.
Break it down.
So the father, so that's like according to what the scripture that you brought up. It will be saying that this man is trying his hardest to establish the Most High's, the way the Most High's set up a household to be set up in his home. Right. But a woman, like you said, not having two different identities or maybe going to some things that she grew up in. I grew up this way, so I want to be done this way. It's nothing too wrong with that, even though you don't want that for your children in your house, but she's telling you, well, I wanted this done this way, or we should agree to disagree, or just things like that. Could root it out, or even just I'll bring up my situation for example. I established this within my children, my household, but through other things, situations with the mother of my children, she is now reversing that, and you know what I'm saying. She's reversing that through just other things, like really Babylonian mindset. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's it will root it out. It will root out. If that be the Father's will, it's gonna root out the foundation. You know what I'm saying? So.
Absolutely, all praise. All praise.
Can I add to that? I just want to say thank you for bringing that out, because I've seen that. In spite of a man's best efforts, a man could be righteous. He can be 100% righteous, but if you make a false move, like a woman who is not in one accord with you, it's all like she literally can ruin everything.
Yeah.
She literally can. She has the power to ruin everything. So that's why, to the point of what we are talking about, it's very important to choose that woman wisely.
Absolutely.
That's real. It's fighting aggressive.
Let's get back to Esther chapter 2, verse 3. Esther chapter 2, verse 3. We almost done. Who got it? Esther chapter 2, verse 3.
I got you. And let the king appoint officers in all the provinces of his kingdom, that they may gather together all in the fair young virgins, that Shushan the palace to the house of the women, and to the custodian of the heads, and he, the king, chamberlain, keeper of the women, let their kings for purification be given them, and let the maiden which pleaseth the king be queen instead of Ashanti, and then the thing that pleased the king, and he did so. Now in Shushan, the palace, there was a certain Jew, whose name was Mordecai,
right,
the son of Jair, Jair, the son of Shammai, the son of Kish, a who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captive, which had captivity, which had been carried away with Jeconiah. Am I saying that right? Jeconiah, king of Judah, who was Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away. And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother.
Right.
And the maid was fair and beautiful, whom Mordecai, when her father and mother were dead, took for his wife's own daughter.
Start right there. And so, this is, a lot of sisters always have this question. There's always this question, well, if I don't have a husband, if I don't have an elder, right, or father, then what do I do? We see here that Mordecai, who was a righteous man, who was her cousin, became her head and her father and her covering until a man was worthy enough to marry her in that essence. And so, let's get to Sirach 4 and 10. Sirach 4 and 10. Somebody grab that for me, Sirach 4 and 10. You stay where you at.
This is the book Sirach, chapter 4, verse 10.
Right.
Be as a father unto the fatherless.
Come on.
And instead of an husband unto their mother, so shalt thou be as a son of the Most High.
So hold on. He's telling you, if you're a father to the fatherless, and instead a husband to their mother, you are going to be as Mashiach. You're going to be this anointing covering for her. And so this is what Mordecai was to Esther. So for my sisters who have that question of, if I don't have a father or a husband, how do I get a covering? It is your duty to try to seek out a covering that can cover you until Yah sends you a husband. Your first thing should not be you go and find a husband. That's the wrong thing to do. But you need to be under a righteous patriarchy who has an established family, who say, okay, I can see this man, he got a family, he obviously has been a good covering, and say, or he's flocking men already, and say, this man can cover me and teach me until I'm not only healed from my past trauma, but can help assimilate me to a husband that I can help build up. You should not be going through that process by yourself.
In addition, I think by having men that have established homes and looking for whether you be elders in your home or whatever, get with a man who is a man households who has a wife that is operating under his authority.
Yes.
And because she would still need a model of what that looks like as far as a woman goes and coming from a woman perspective. And that is probably that is important, because sometimes we say looking for an elder man, but the status of that man should be is where he has a fully functional home, right? Or he's with a group of other elders and Ema's sisters, elder sisters that can train the daughters up in child rearing and different things like that. Right. Because sometimes we still, again, are still operating with the Roman Greco mentality that we believe that somehow that a woman does not need a model to follow. She's going to need a working model, just like we have a working model. Just like what we talked about a little earlier with the sisters, is that, you know, sisters gave kudos to one another, but what were they doing? Based on what they were seeing, how the wives were conducting the business with the homes.
Right.
That's crazy because that question was just on Facebook like 2 days ago. Women, do you need a covering? And a lot of women are saying, I don't need a covering, I lean on your Habashai or your ministry. Like that's
See, now what's wrong? Did you want to say something?
And the crazy thing is this: who did the Messiah leave to bring forth His word? He left men. He left the apostles. So to have this thing of saying, "Oh, the Messiah got me," with no covering, is foolery. It's foolery, because He always sent men to protect the flock. Always. You let them know?
No, that's magic. See, that's presto magic right there. That's women thinking outside of reality. You want a tangible man, but you don't want a tangible example. You want to be a tangible mother and a tangible wife, but you're going to get spooky when it's time to have an example of how these things work. That's Christianity.
Yes.
That's Christianity. One-on-one right there. Where again, there's only one man in the whole house in the church that's respected, and that is the pastor. That they can't get to him. By the time they get to him, they number 6 or 7 in the lineup. You know what I mean? Go ahead, Brother Bless.
They go home and be talking crazy to their husband. Talking about what their pastor said.
Talking about what their pastor said.
That's crazy.
Right. So you have assimilated to a man who ain't your husband.
Right.
And then gonna talk about this man to your husband.
Right.
That's crazy.
That's right.
But that's what the Christian church is promoting.
That's right.
And I was just gonna say too, man, just that hit hard when you just said, but then you want to get spooky.
Right.
The Mashiach he's my covering.
Right.
That's some real Greek,
right,
Greco-Roman religious weirdo stuff right there.
Right.
That's Hebrews. We can't deal with that.
Right.
I mean, Hebrews, we gotta think of things very practically.
Right. Right. Yes.
Keep both feet on the ground. We're not talking about this for no reason. Yes, spiritually, of course, he's our covering. He's all of our covering.
Right.
But
and to be specific, he's the man covering.
Right. You may need help doing some very practical things, some very practical things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, it's not.
That's really
Yeah, he's the man's covering. He ain't gonna break protocol. You see what I'm saying? He ain't gonna break protocol. Now we know that he cared for the fatherless and widows, and we know that there. But look what happened when the Israelite men weren't doing it. They were charged. They were indicted. They were found guilty for not taking care of those women, not taking care of the fatherless, right? Because in Torah there is law, there is instruction on how the fatherless and the widow and all of those were to be taken care of by who? Men. So now they want to get spooky. But if you're going to have a spiritual head, then don't get with a physical man. Go be a nun.
That's right.
Right? I'm just saying, go be a nun. Go be a nun. Because if you're not going to get the practical lessons you need to learn by way of example of what you've seen, what you need to have. You're just not going to get it. You know? But that's Christian thinking again. They think we're going to go to heaven, but Yah said he created the earth to be inhabited. Now you're going to throw away the whole earth. Because we all going to heaven.
Yeah.
Two things I was going to say when you mentioned about where the brother's moving in his life. I know with my Ish, we were probably 21, 22, and it's all women, will call my husband to help them move. But if he want to share something about the Messiah or share something about the Spirit, they like, literally would be like this, like, anyway, what are you talking about? But literally come and pick up this couch for me.
Wow.
And then the other thing that just really nails the practicality is when you were talking about the book of Ruth. This was Naomi, her mother-in-law, a mother to her, kicking her and like, go to Boaz, you know, cover yourself this way, you look like this, wash yourself up, get ready, you know, to be before him, because in all practicality, we out here hungry, like we need.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's good, sis, right there.
Yeah, come on.
I just want to read this scripture in Deuteronomy. It literally labels out the duty of the husband in the household. Everything he's supposed to do. Chapter 6, let's start at verse 6. It said, these words.
Make sure you speak up, Doc, so people hear.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, it's just in Deuteronomy chapter 6, starting at verse 6, it gives like the real description of what the duty of the husband is in the house. It's in Deuteronomy. It says, these words which I command thee this day shall be in thine heart, and thou shalt teach them diligently unto thy children, and shalt talk to them when thou sittest in thine house. So when you at home in your house, you're supposed to be a priest in your house. You're supposed to be teaching your family. You're supposed to be sitting down with your wife. You're supposed to be breaking down the precepts, showing her the word so she can walk in your likeness. So when she going to work, you going to work, she know how to act accordingly and actually represent you in the proper manner that she's supposed to. Right. And when thou walkest by the way, and when thou liest down, and when thou rises up, you're supposed to sleep thinking about the Most High. When you get up, you're supposed to be thinking about Him. And thou shalt bind them for a sign upon thy hand, and that should be a frontlets between thy eyes. So when people see you, they're supposed to see your family walking in the obedience of the Mashiach. Straight up. So that's in Deuteronomy.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. And so, women, you have to allow that man to be so. And so, if you don't realize the natural state of this man, and you push him out of that, you then are literally going against nature itself. Y'all follow me? Yeah. To put a man out of his natural state of being and living is going against nature itself and creating an unnatural or GMO type of environment. And now you got mixed chemicals, mixed emotions. We trying to figure out who's the head. It's GMO all through the house. And now you've genetically modified to him from him being an alpha to a beta, and now you are an alpha. And this is why you see the fall of a lot of black families. Yes.
Because basically back off what bro said, Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter.
Right.
Fear God and keep His commandments. Mm-hmm. For this is the whole duty of man.
Whole duty of man, to be a minister to his family and to be a fisherman of men. If you're not doing enough work to allow him to do that, then you're not doing the right job. Because ultimately you want to free up your husband so he can help bring this nation back together. He ain't going to do it working an 80+ hour a week job. You're allowing him to slave for his oppressor and be used for his oppression. And so by the time he get back to you, you got vegetable body. He just in limbo with you, going through the motion. Y'all follow me? I want to read this. And the them and him. This is I'm going to read pages 132 through 136. And so it says, there's always going to be a relative scarcity of women who are truly capable of being a good wife. The implication here is that only Yah can find her. We just said it. Only Yah can find her, right? The word virtuous essentially means capable. We already went through that. A force of men, means, resources, a great army valor. So this is a woman that if you had her on your team, it will be as though you had a personal army accomplishing your goal, accomplishing great tasks and manufacturing resources. This, therefore, is a woman who creates value from raw materials, organic materials, not a genetic modified system. Right? As a business proposition, she brings in revenue and increases the value of the company's assets and holdings. Who is the company? That man. Right? This is a woman who elevates the reputation of the entity or family, and in doing so is a positive reflection of the CEO of the family. She is like a chief operations officer and a chief financial officer of a company. And so, brother, she ultimately should be able to run your house in that fashion. But brother, we understand sometimes we ain't good with money.
The one thing about the sisters, and I said it before, I'm sure you guys heard it in the audience, but I think it just speaks to, once again, the reality. You're not going to change your nature as a woman, even if you're rebellious, even if you're attached or aligned to a system that would allow you to override Yah's order for your need for a man. In other words, this system has created employment. Has created employment for all you single sisters out there with no man, to be this virtuous woman for them, to be a force and an army for them. And you're making these men multi-millions of dollars, and you're being used by them. And the problem is that you're taking that income outside of your home and you burning yourself out. And as I said earlier, all you're doing is creating the next wave of slaves for these people.
Right.
That's all you're doing, being that independent woman. Because you're still under the auspice and the control of other men. The thing is, you gotta wait for almost 2 hours before the police come knocking at the door, before, if you're in danger. Versus having a man in the home, versus having healthy sons to take care of you. This is an exchange. The strength of a woman is there to undergird the family. Because that family is there to nourish each other, right? But the woman must understand why she's placed under authority. It's so she won't be under the authority of Hashatan.
Yes.
Somebody's going to use you. Shouldn't it be a man that's in that you're the image of?
Okay.
You want to say something? Okay.
So it reads, her husband does not have to give concern or thought for how the household is being maintained. Importantly, he does not have to wonder about her state of mind. He can trust completely that she knows his mind. Not her mind, but knows his mind. Understanding his calling.
Twin thing right there.
Like a surround sound. I couldn't even hear myself for a minute. So it says he can trust completely that she knows his mind, understanding his calling, and has fully signed on to put the needs and purpose of the family first. His attention is not divided when he is in an assembly amongst the elders, helping to set policy for the land, because she is predictably loyal. She does not forget his ideas. You see, he keeps saying his. His ideas, right? And the goal he has set for the family. He does not have to keep reminding her, emotionally coddling her, or checking behind her when he asks her to do something. In general, he simply communicates the family's overarching mission, and she is able to plan, take the right steps to nurture, and manifest the idea. She has assimilated to him, so she knows his mind. And it should get to a point where man sometimes don't even gotta say nothing. He probably said something in the conversation, and you done took it and ran with it, and you should have came and brought it back triple the amount of what he thought it was gonna be. You follow me? So she is a quick study and becomes adept at his pleasing. At pleasing him. She understands the importance of the calling on his life and is not content to watch it go undone. So you should have more of a desire to see him successful than he see himself. Y'all follow me? You should have more of a desire to see him successful than himself. That is a hard thing to wrap around a lot of our sisters' mind in this Greco-Roman system. Or as the Elder Thomas would say, it's satanic system. Right? She sees her identity and her personal purpose as tied to his purpose. She measures her success by how well his household is progressing toward the goals that her husband has set. She eagerly gives herself emotionally to him so that his sense of himself is always uplifted and he faces the world with a feeling of favor. So he should not be battling in his house and outside the house. He should be coming home to frankincense burning.
Yeah, man.
And lamb on the table. Oh man. Yo,
that's grown man talk right now.
So she eagerly gives herself emotionally to him so that his sense of himself is always uplifted. He faces the world with a feeling of favor. He shall have no need of spoil. The word spoil refers to material captured in war. Now it says a word in here, I'm going to cover it up. I.e. fruitfulness. You understand? The scripture is saying that he is lost like a casualty of war if he gives the wrong sister access to his heart. These are some sisters who are not heart healthy because of their habit of harming the man's sense of self. If she is insecure, she will not be able to sustain a positive attitude and affection towards him because she will start to place her attention on fear and lack when challenges arise. Once she has been distracted or reminded of old fears, the tendency will be to judge and find fault with her husband. Inconsistency is one way a sister can damage her man's heart. After so many trips up and down her emotional roller coaster, he shuts down and is left less optimistic and closed to opportunity. And so this is what happens when a man has no stability or peace within his home. And every move he makes is challenged and questioned.
You're losing the crowd.
Nah, I got you. I got you. So I got a few more. So these were a couple questions that were asked, and I want y'all to think about it. You ain't got to answer, just think about it. So it says, have you prayed? This is a question for the men. Have you prayed and sought out God about your calling or purpose in life? Husbands, can you clearly articulate your purpose or why it is you believe that you specifically were created? A man who does not know his calling or has not spent enough time with Yah to be able to clearly articulate it will frustrate a virtuous woman. So, brother, you got to figure out what you want first before even dealing with a woman, right? And so, a lot of the hard questions is this, because a lot of us got in situations without going through this process. So, what do we do now? What do we do now? Okay, well, I got this woman, I got this man, and we trying to figure out, and he hurt me, or she hurt me. What do we do now? You seek Yah. And you seek a man of Yah who has fruit to help you, guide you in the right way you should go. And so now this is a question to the wives. Do you know what your husband's calling is? And have you even asked him? Did you think that your husband's calling was mainly to go to work, pay bills, and provide material things for you? These are questions. Wives, are you up and down or unpredictable in your level or cooperation with your husband? Wives, do you see yourself as being in competition with your husband? Wives, do you see marriage as 50-50? Are you expecting your husband to help you meet goals that he did not set? Now, for my young women who have no covering, have you set rigid goals or expectations on how married life should be? To young women with no covering, what do you think it means for a man to be the provider? Young women, what are your goals and where did they come from? Who gave you those goals? A lot of us would say it came from Babylon. Young women, do you expect a man to become like your female friend sitting around chatting at home? So you think he's going to be at home all day with you when he got work to do for Yah? Young women, this is for those who are not married, or even those who are married, because sometimes we got to reiterate these questions, right? Do you imagine a man who caters to your feelings? Young women, this is a funny one. Did you watch a lot of Disney type princess movies as a kid? Because that's how a lot of us picture marriage, is this Disney fairy tale. Right? Young women, what do you think it means for a man to love and provide for you? And where did you get these ideas from? Young women, how fast did your mother move in response to an instruction or request from your father? Sisters, a deep, abiding belief in the worthiness of your own husband's unique calling will last longer and allow you to be more consistent than a relationship based on physical attraction or companionship alone. Let's give a round of applause for the House of Ladies. Because this, like I said, this book really puts in perspective of where our mindset is and when it comes to marriage.
How much do books on Amazon?
Maybe you can sponsor a couple.
They back on Amazon.
Sponsor a couple. Y'all donate a few things on sponsors. Alright. So let's try to wrap this up, man. But you know, that's a good idea. I did want to start a book club specifically on these books. I got it.
Yeah, I've sold it already. I put a couple seeds out there with it. So we can work that out. I think that book, I don't think anybody should go another, not somebody who's saying they're Hebrew Israelites and attempting to really build a family. I mean, it's a manual. It's you know what he said in Revelation when he said, what church was it? That he said, start your first works over. Let's move your candlestick.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
It was Church of Smyrna. But in other words, if anybody asks what we know, what we need to do to fix this situation, we need to go back and start our first one.
Yes.
We need to go back to what was in the beginning. And what we learned that is to get back to becoming a functioning family again. Minus the ideologies and the structure that we've been given by our masters.
Okay.
We got to get back to what counts. It matters.
Mm-hmm.
So we done get out.
We got a few more scriptures. Y'all hold on. We got a few more scriptures. All right, back to Esther. Esther chapter 2, verse 8. Esther chapter 2, verse 8. I'll read it. You give me Sirach 26:13. So we at Esther chapter 2, verse 8. So it came to pass, when the king's commandment and his decree was heard, and when many maidens were gathered together unto Shushan the palace, to the custody of Haggai, that Esther was brought also unto the king's house, to the custody of Haggai, keeper of the woman. And the maiden pleased him, and she obtained kindness of him, and he speedily gave her things for her purification, right? With such things as belongeth to her and 7 maids, which were meet to be given her out of the king's house. And he preferred her and her maids unto the best place of the house of the woman. Esther had not showed her people nor kindred, for Mordecai had charged her that who charged her? Mordecai, right? Mordecai had charged her that she should not show it. And Mordecai walked every day before the court of the woman's house to know how Esther did and what should become of her. So we see that although she is getting processed to be this man's wife, she followed her first duty, which was given to her by who? Her covering. Mordecai was ultimately her covering. And so we see she played her role. And you see, when you play your role, you get blessed. Sirach 26:13.
Sirach chapter 26, verse 13. The grace of a wife delighteth her husband.
They do what?
Delighteth her husband. And her discretion will fatten his bones.
Her discretion will fatten his bones. She was discreet on what she did. Right? Because ultimately, at the end of this, we're going to find out that Mordecai's hand was raised. It was fulfilled. The purpose of Mordecai was fulfilled through what Esther did for him. Verse 14.
A silent and loving woman is a gift of the Adonai.
A what?
A silent and loving woman is a gift of the Adonai.
So obviously, if this silent woman is a gift from Adonai, if you got a railing woman and a contentious woman, who is this gift from? Hashatan. A wicked woman is given to a wicked man. Are you, brothers, are you going through the processing? Women, have you gone through the purification process? You, huh? We do. It's written right in the books. Right in the books. Now, this purification process is a bathing. You know, it's a bathing process. But the purification process, ultimately, like you said, our heart, you have to heal. And you have to have a covering who can be able to speak for you and provide for you. Right? Well, you good already. But in the essence of you, if you're a woman who doesn't, you need to be able to heal before going into a relationship. Y'all following me? All right, let's keep reading. We'll go back to Esther. Somebody read that for me? 12. Yeah.
I got it. Now when every maid's turn was come to go in the king, that's real nice. After that she had been 12 months according to the manner of the woman, for so were the days of the purifications accomplished.
Hold on, so now she had to go through, we're going to talk about it. She went through a time to process. She went through a purification process before dealing with the king. A lot of us come in this truth looking for men to cover us already. Talking about a husband. But you didn't even go through a purification process. So now this man got to deal with your problems and until you're going to purify you. That's not fair. But then again, why is he even choosing you if he's supposed to be a righteous order? So we get back to the beginning where women had a covering, even the fatherless, and the men had a covering to provide these things for us. All these stats that we went through will be voided. Keep going. Give me Titus 2 and 3.
For where the days of the purification accomplished, to wit, 6 months with oil and myrrh, and 6 months with sweet hors d'oeuvres, and with other things for the purifying of women.
So the purifying, so you have to go through a purifying process, which means obviously you have to be remembered. He told us to become what? As a child. And so who raises a child first? A woman. This has to be a successful woman who is showing you how to serve your man. And so this is the type of woman that you should be learning from, who is being taught by her husband, who ultimately is teaching you. Come on.
Ready?
Yep.
The aged woman.
Yep, go ahead.
The aged woman likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness.
Become a what?
Holiness.
So you got to learn how to become holy. You got to learn how to become set apart. Are you taking the time to get rid of these infirmities in you? Come on.
Not false accusers.
Not what?
Not false accusers.
A lot of y'all came from broken relationships because all y'all say is, all I hang around is men. I can't get along with sisters. A lot of times because you running your mouth. So we got to get that up out you too. Come on.
Not giving them much wine. Teachers of good things.
Teachers of what?
Good things.
So you're not bad mouthing men. You're not having these women groups talking about how men ain't this and men ain't that. Men need to do this. Right? Because you should be teaching this woman to shut your mouth. Learn how to serve. Stop complaining about men. What are you doing to get that type of man? It worked both ways. What are you doing to get that type of man? Come on.
That they may teach the young women.
That you may what?
Teach the young women.
Come on.
To be sober.
To be what?
Sober.
Sober-minded. Come on.
To love their husbands.
So that's in there too. Not talking about independency or I'm going to be a hot girl. But how to love your husband. First of all, you got to learn how to love a man, period. Because you came from a fatherless home. So how do you know how to love and serve a man? And how do you get that from serving your husband when you haven't served a higher authority yet? Come on.
To love their children.
To love what?
Their children.
So you will know that children need their father. So you can get that out your mind too. Because we got a lot of sisters in this community, this Hebrew community, that still lean on the system. Period. Period. So now you got to get that stuff up out of you. We're going to have to clean you out. Put some apple cider vinegar in, drink, just flush it out. You got to flush it out. We got to put that ACV in there. Because we got to get back to our organic state of mind and truly an Adamic and Elohistic body. Come on.
To be discreet, chaste, keepers at home.
Keepers at what?
Home.
Come on.
Good. Obedient to their own husband.
Obedient to what?
Their own husband.
So you should be, your pastor should not be over your husband. Your moral, your teacher should not be over your husband. It should be submissive. Your elder should not be over your husband. Let's put that out there real clear. Y'all understand what I'm saying?
Man, I tell you, I'm feeling some kind of way, man. some energy said it that.
No, but serious. It's not to say that the elder don't have no say so over you as brothers, but a woman has to assimilate to you first, and that elder should be like their father. Y'all following? So there should be no sidebar conversation. Let's get back there. Let's finish up Esther. Come on. Start at verse 13 and read to 17.
Then thus came every maiden unto the king, whosoever she desired was given unto her, to go with her out of the house of the women unto the king's house. In the evening she went, and on the morrow she returned into the second house of the women, to the custody of the Shagaz, the king's chamberlain, which kept the concubines. She she came into the
in unto
the king no more, except the king delighted in her, and that she were called by name.
But she knew she needed to come when that husband or that king called her, and she knew her place when he had no need of her. In that essence, right? She knew her role. She knew how to move by way of what he commanded. Come on.
Now when the tone of Esther, the daughter of Abihail, the uncle of Mordecai, who had taken her for his daughter, was come to go in unto the king, she required nothing, but when Haggai, the king's chamberlain, the keeper of the woman, appointed, and Esther obtained favor in the sight of all them that looked upon her. So Esther was taken unto the king Ahasuerus into his house royal in the 10th month, which is the month Tebeth, in the 7th year of his reign. And the king loved Esther above all the women.
And what did happen because she was submissive in all things? What did she obtain? Come on.
And she obtained grace and favor.
And she obtained grace and favor in his sight. Come on.
More than all the virgins.
Come on. So this is what you get. This is your reward.
So
when you show your husband that you submissive in all things, he rewards you. Just like Yah rewards Israel. When you keep all his commandments, you shall be blessed.
Yeah.
If you shall do all that I command you, then these blessings shall fall upon you. Come on.
So that he set the royal crown upon her head and made her queen instead of Ashanti.
And made her Malchi instead of Ashanti. Proverbs 31 and 11.
Proverbs 31 and 11. The heart of her husband does safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil.
And that's it. And we're going to end it right there. This is how you obtain structure, how you obtain favor, and ultimately a blessing for Yah, that when you stay in all submissive order, from the men to the women and to the children. Hallelujah.
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 And so I hope y'all enjoyed this message to the daughters of Zion. And next week we'll be talking about, will the children receive a blessing or the curses by way of parents? And that's going to be the end of the series. And so with that, again, Toda Rabbah for everybody who's listened in, everybody who came to fellowship. And so now we're going to open up for any questions or any comments. Any questions or comments? The floor is open now. Yes.
I did want to go back to where he has said the elder has spoke of us being slave bearers, and then also when you have said our first command was to be fruitful and multiply.
Mm-hmm.
They in turn use our first command to their advantage instead of us doing it for our people.
Right.
And they created a whole kingdom.
That's it.
That's it. That's it. And so that's what I said. Ultimately, we doing the same thing but with an illusion, a veil over our face. Same exact thing but with a veil. So imagine if we do the righteous thing. All right. Anybody else? Questions? Comments? Questions or comments? You good? All right. All right. So with that, again, we do want to say happy Day of Trumpets to everybody who's gonna be keeping it and acknowledging it. Yes.
The schedule for the Feast of Tabernacles. And that's coming up.
Oh yeah. So tomorrow we got the Feast of Trumpets coming up. We do invite all those who do want to fellowship. We'll be starting at 4:00 p.m. Again, opening up with the trumpets as we see. Brother blessed us with his shofar playing. Right. Tonight we about to hang out. We about to kick it. And then after that, we got the Day of Atonement coming up. And so I truly believe, I feel like we felt it. We are in the season of a calling, not only of repentance, but to finally start coming together as a nation. But it starts with better sheep. It starts with the beginning. Right? And then we got Feast of Tabernacles also coming up. And so with that, we ain't got any questions or comments. As a family, we say to the people, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Ellie, I saw that.